Yo, what's going on guys? Jared here. Today I'm going to be bringing you a bit of a more casual deck profile. The last two deck profiles I did were way more competitive decks, and this time I wanted to switch it up to be something just a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more fun, something more enjoyable with your friends if you want to try, or maybe not so enjoyable with them. But for this is going to be an Ancient Gear deck profile. It's going to be an OTK deck profile specifically. There is other ways to play this deck. There is combo ways to do it. I'll talk about that a little bit when I get into the deck. If you guys enjoy the content, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let's jump right into the deck profile. Okay, guys, so here is the Ancient Gear list that I was talking about. This is definitely the OTK build. This is by no means trying to make a board. This is a blind second push through a board and just try to OTK them. That is all this deck is going for. We are trying to use Ancient Gear Fusion to go into usually Chaos Giant. He is the strongest one that we were able to make, and then just try to OTK with that, with installation cards from Ancient Gear Fortress and Regulus. But before we talk about it a little bit, I want to go through the card by card and the new cards specifically. So for the new cards, we have Ancient Gear Dark Golem, which is it's Ancient Gear Golem when it's on the field or graveyard, and then if it's normal or special, you can add up to 2 Ancient Gears or a Gear Town from your deck to your hand, then discard a card. If it attacks, prone can't bar traps. But the main part is the searching, to being able to search 2 and then discard 1. That is very big for this deck, and it's a really good card to go for off of your Gear Towns. We also got Ancient Gear Tanker. When it's normal or special summon, you can special summon a Ancient Gear from your hand, ignoring its summoning condition. That's important, so you can summon Ancient Gear Golem if you play it. And then you can target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and then your Ancient Gears will gain 600 attack for the turn. Pretty cool. Then you can pop your Gear Town if you want to. As the first effect, you're able to clear out monsters in your hand. That's why I play it. So like if I draw this and I need to get it out and I have him, I can just special him out of my hand and get the double search still. And for the last new card that I'm playing in this is Ancient Gear Advance. When it's activated, you can add the Ancient Gear spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can tribute a monster, draw a card, and if you do, for the rest of the turn, you can almost summon a level 5 or higher Ancient Gear monster without tributing. And then you can only activate 1 per turn, and you can't set cards turn you're activated. That's like a pretty standard restriction now that we have, is that you cannot set cards as soon as you activate Ancient Gear cards. There are 2 other cards that came out. I am not playing them right now. They are, I'll go over them very quickly. 3 other cards actually, completely forgot. We have Ancient Gear Commander. I do not like this card. You can send an Ancient Gear Golem from your hand or deck or face-up monster in the graveyard to normal summon an additional Ancient Gear monster. If you normal or special Ancient Gear Golem, you can special summon an Ancient Gear Golem from your hand or graveyard ignoring your summon conditions. You can banish it from the graveyard to place an Ancient Gear Continuous Trap from your hand onto your field. So the big thing that I hate about this card was that you had this, there was the trap part. I was playing this for the trap originally, and when I realized you can only place it from the hand, it makes it so much worse. So that was why it's not in this deck list specifically. And the continuous trap I was playing, which Ancient Gear Duel, which is monsters you control that are Ancient Gear Golem or mentioned or unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. Obviously has a crazy effect. If your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions Ancient Gear Golem by banishing the materials from your field or graveyard, including Ancient Gear Golem. And if you do, it can make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase. Yeah, really good. I really like this card, and the fact that I couldn't make it work was very upsetting, but yeah, you just got to make it I'm trying to make this as optimal as possible to be able to play in OTK and play through stuff as much as possible. And the last card that we got was Ancient Gear Dragon. This card is just not a big fan of it. Cannot be special summoned if you control no monsters or only Earth Machine monsters. You can normal summon without tributing. When your opponent activates a spell card or effect, you can send 1 machine monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard to negate that effect, or that mentions Ancient Gear Golem from your deck to the graveyard to negate that effect. So it's alright. It is a spell negate, but like the fact that you can't special summon it and you have to normal summon it. Obviously there's cards that can do it ignoring its summoning conditions, but yeah, it's like I don't know, it's just not worth it for me. Like I don't want to also have to play Ancient Gear Golem either. I actually just ended up cutting it at the very end along with the commander and the trap because I just did not like the way that was working. So I don't want to be shoehorned into playing them. But for the actual card by card now, 3 copies of Wyvern, 3 Dark Golem, 3 Regulus. This card is broken in this deck. 1 Tanker, 3 Gear Frame, 3 Vernisil Flourishing Hills, 3 Vernisil Milsting Seedlings, 1 Ancient Gear Box, and 1 Vernisil Flowering Fields. For the spells, you have 3 Ancient Gear Advance, 3 Ancient Gear Fortress, 3 Gear Town, 3 Ancient Gear Catapult, 3 Urgent Schedule, 1 copy of Ancient Gear Fusion, and 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. For the extra deck, we have 3 copies of Ancient Gear Ballista, 2 Howitzer, 3 copies of Ancient Gear Chaos Giant, 3 copies of Megaton Golem, 2 copies of Ancient Gear, Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and 1 Blackluster Soldier of Chaos. So, obviously, like I said, this is a going second deck, so we were trying to push through and make boards as much as possible. We have plenty of power spells in here, that of Pot of Extravagance, the Urgent Schedule, and both of these spells, Ancient Gear Catapult and Advance, are all disgusting cards, being able to get +1s and doing all the searching. Ancient Gear Fortress is a card that I do not see played at 3 a lot, and I kind of want to talk about it. Ancient Gear Fortress is kind of like branded Lost in a way, right? It's a searchable branded Lost, but you really want it as early as possible. Being able so that they can't be targeted, destroyed, and that they can't be, your opponent can't interrupt them is very, very big. So like all your stuff is resolving pretty much. It is very, very hard to interact with this card on the field, and it helps you push through so much. So you can activate the card, they have to interact with it at that point, or else they're just not touching your stuff, which is very, very strong. So I really like this card right now, and I really don't want to move it around. This is like the #1 way you're going to play through boards, as well with Regulus being just summoning an Omni Negate to be able to, again, insulate your boards and to be able to push through everything. And obviously Regulus is just a broken card in like completely general. Okay. Vernisylphs. These cards are pretty strong. I like that they get this guy out of your hand, Ancient Gear Dark Golem. You can pitch him with the Dark Golem with the Vernisylph to be able to special summon back out the Dark Golem and immediately trigger the effect to get the full combo going. That is literally full combo by itself. You can also do it on Regulus as your first action so that you can get the negate as soon as possible, which is very, very strong. Also, it gets these extra normal summons out of your hand also. So you get like a lot of value from these cards specifically. Also, Ancient Gear Frame does discard a card to be able to search. So I wanted something that was able to get extra value while searching the Ancient Gear Frame if I was going for a Vernisylph line. And I actually was a fan of Ancient Gear Box. Obviously, this is like a brick of the deck. You don't want to draw this card. This is something you want to search. So you can use the search, you can Ancient Gear Box, and then you can use this Ancient Gear Box as just an additional card in your hand so that you can discard it with either one of the Vernisylphs or the Ancient Gear Frame for your combo so you don't run out of card advantage while you're playing. That's very, very important. That's also the same logic why I'm playing Pot of Extravagance. I think it just fits this the best, being able to get that extra card for literally free. There's no reason to not have it. You care more about your main deck than your extra deck, so I think that's just like more important to me. And then Ancient Gear Fusion is your win con. This is definitely the way you're going to win. I don't want to play more than one of it because, like I said, you're kind of dependent on, you're going for like Fortress, and then Fortress using your other cards to search this. There's so many ways to get to this card. I don't really think you need to play more than one. You're probably wondering why Urgent Schedule's here. So, as you can see, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you're going to control 0. You special summon level 4 or lower and 1 level 5 or higher Earth Machine from your deck in defense position. Their effects are negated. You can only declare attacks with machine monsters. That's perfectly fine. We don't really care about that. We care about you getting 2 bodies for literally free. 2 Earth Machine bodies for literally free is what it equals, ends up being the Ancient Gear Ballista. On summon, this searches an Ancient Gear monster or Gear Town, so this lets you go into a full combo in itself. Also, because you're going second, your opponent is most likely going to have a monster on the field, so you can actually use the second effect so that you can actually pop a spell or trap, aka the Gear Town, if you need it to. So you can go Urgent Schedule get 2 bodies, 2 bodies go into Ballista get Gear Town, Ballista effect pop the Gear Town, use the Gear Town, summon out the Dark Golem effect, search 2, discard 1, maybe get Ancient Gear Advance, and then it just you get access to everything. It's so fast. It all just comes out immediately, which is very, very nice. Lastly, the thing I want to go over was the side deck. The side deck I just filled it with a bunch of stuff that you could play. There's so many different variations of things that you could use and try to play, but I have deemed myself personally not a fan of them. We have the 1 Ancient Gear Dragon. As I said, I just don't like this card personally. I have other general Earth Machine cards. They could definitely fit in here. It just wasn't what I was going for. So like we have like generic cards like Super Express Bullet Train, Derricrane, the Machina cards like Machina Gear Frame and Machina Citadel. Again, these are just cards that like they kind of have synergies, but I don't want no more normal summons either in here. That would just kind of make it more awkward. We have it at 6 normal summons, technically 7 or 8, but the Vernisylphs help mitigate it to make it better. So yeah, I just don't think you need more. And plus this one gets another one out of your hand too. Overload Fusion is actually something you can use because the Chaos Giant is actually a dark. So keep in mind that you can play Overload Fusion if you want to. I am not doing it right now. I don't think it's that good. there's no way to search it. There is a spell card that searches it if it was for Cyber Dragons, but it's all it does is search Overload Fusion, so it's more copies of it. So I don't think you really want that, but yeah, just an option that you can have to play. The actual other engine that I actually ended up liking more than I was expecting was the Infinit engine. Brutal Dozer going into the other one. I'm trying to remember its name. Where is it? Brutal Dozer going into Trencher, because Trencher being able to special it back from the graveyard was really, really good. So like if you were able to summon like your Wyvern, and then your Wyvern got interrupted, you were able to go like Brutal Dozer, tribute the Wyvern, summon itself, Brutal Dozer effect, summon Trencher, then you can go right into either Ancient Gear Ballista, but you could also go into River Stormer effect to be able to search, and then I believe it was link off the River Stormer for the link 1, and then you were able to bring back the River Stormer by tributing off the link 1, and then you can like equip it. And there was different lines that you could do with it that I really liked. It was like Earth Machine lines. Then you can use that's what it was. Then you use the Trencher in the graveyard to bring back a guy. So you get a free search in the middle of like while playing through a hand trap, because you get to trade off the Wyvern search for an Ancient Gear Ballista search, which helps play through hand traps. But the reason I ended up cutting it was because for some reason they made Chaos Giant a dark, so you cannot actually use this if you go into your Infinit line. Again, I really like this card. I really like Bulldozer, and I really want to use it. And I'm still tempted to make a different build with it, but it cannot be going for the fusion stuff. I would have to switch it up, because the fusions don't actually accomplish anything, and you have to just go for a different line completely, in my opinion. So I don't know what it would be yet, but it just couldn't be this. But these cards are really good. I'm just leaving it at that. These cards are really strong. Again, all the other stuff that mentions Ancient Gear Golem, including himself, I just didn't want to play the brick. So again, if you want to, it's up to you. I just want to be able to play as much as possible, and be able to OTK as much as possible. Again, reiterating the River Stormer lines with the Infinit Goliath and the Double Head Angled Nutcore. These are all cards that you could be playing along with the other machine stuff if you want to. I had it down to just like a little package with Brutal Dozer and Trencher, and like that was it. You really didn't need more than that. Like the Trencher is like the brick of the deck, and you get 3 Brutal Dozer, which does a lot, which is cool. So yeah. And then lastly, we have like Platinum Gadget as a generic link 2 that you can play. I'm just not doing it right now, but it's an option if you want to help get some stuff out of your hand. It can be used. Foolish Burial Goods, being able to dump Clockwork Knight, just add any Earth machine from your deck to your hand, and then you discard a card. It's not bad. It's all right. You discard a card, search Earth Machine. It's free. You could also use this card to send the Catapult to trigger the Catapult effect in graveyard if you wanted to. Just a little bit of versatility. But I didn't think you needed that for consistency in this build. There could be other builds that could have used this and abused this, but for this build specifically, I didn't feel it deemed it necessary in this. It's just not good enough. You're already plenty consistent enough with this build, trust me. If you want to switch it around, feel free. I mean, there's so many different there's more paths and avenues to Ancient Gear than I would have thought. Mostly because of, again, all these other machine decks that we've gotten over the years, and they some of them are intertwinable, which is kind of nice. But yeah, overall, that's going to be it for the Ancient Gear profile. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. I know that there's a combo version of this deck that plays the super heavy samurai stuff. That is like a going first or going second build. I do think that deck is probably more competitive because you can play like hand traps, and you have like actual combo going first. This is definitely just more of like a Ancient Gear feeling deck. That's kind of what I was going for here. I wanted this deck to be able to OTK and feel like you're playing Ancient Gear. So that was kind of the logic I was going for here. So yeah, there is like a super heavy samurai version of this deck as well that you can play. It's just not, I just didn't want to like literally just rip someone else's video and just put it in this one. It just seems like definitely not the move. And yeah, so overall, I hope you guys enjoy. And then let me know what you think about Ancient Gears and how you guys think you should play them, because there's a lot more ways to play this deck than I was expecting. So hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you did. Leave suggestions down below. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.